So that leads us into our next question, and that is, what is our camera setup? And that we get asked this question quite a bit, and people probably have read the comments that we've answered. But we always run our Canon Vixia HF 500 or HR 500.
I'll probably post a link in the description box just because we do get this question asked all the time, and maybe I'll put a screenshot over the video. But that's all we use. It's definitely not something that a lot of people will think that we use.
Unless you're a camera junkie guy.
Yeah.
And you know everything about it.
Yeah, but...
And the primary reason we got this camera was because, what was it, 2 years ago? We just wanted to start filming our hunts just for, personal, and then maybe upload them to YouTube to show our buddies and stuff. And so we just we got the equipment. We didn't want to spend
cheap.
Right, so we spent, I think you can get them for $200 online at the most, I think. So we got it, we started using it, we started learning more about the camera, we started, just putting up content, and then we added on a Rode video mic because we wanted to make sure we had good audio, because in our minds, audio kind of makes your video even better. And then from there, we had to get a J bracket or an L bracket, whatever you want to call it, $5 on the line. And we got that just so we could connect that to our camera, because our camera doesn't have
the shoe mount.
The shoe mount, yeah.
It's not a high-end camera, but that's the thing. You don't need to spend gobs and gobs of money, especially when you're just first starting out on a camera, when a $200 camera has HD quality. And obviously, when you compare them side by side, the more expensive camera is usually going to look better. But the quality of your content and just getting started is going to be far more important than worrying about what camera you have and anything like that.
Right.
And lighting's a big one too. If you can really control the lighting and have good natural lighting, a lot of the more inexpensive cameras will do, I don't want to say just as well as the really expensive ones, but in good lighting, the difference is going to be a lot less in what you can actually notice.
Right.
So you just have to keep some things in mind.
Before you go out there and you spend thousands of dollars on a camera just to start videoing a hunt, make sure you really think about what you're going to use it for at first, because that $1,000 now on that camera, in 2 years, let's say you do make it really quick, and all power to you. Good luck. Yeah, good luck. But if you make it, that's awesome. At that time, that camera that you spent $1,000 on is going to be $500 by that time.
Right.
Like buying that camera again would be $500, because technology's just changing so fast and so rapidly. There's gonna be 4K cameras that are. There's already becoming 4K cameras that are.
Even in price point models, there's 4K cameras now that are just exceptional. And so, I don't know. I'm a little bit reluctant to upgrade like super quick, because I know that in a couple of years, the 4K cameras are going to be getting better and better, and like with any storage issues and stuff like that, and they're just going to be at a lower price point. So you might as well just, I don't know, wait, I guess, and
get a camera, get one that you like, obviously.
Definitely, but you just don't need to spend gobs of money
just to start.
Yeah, So I think that's our point with that. It's more important to start.
And learning everything is like learning your video editing software, which we use iMovie because it's already on our computer, so we use iMovie. And learning that is everything. So if you learn how to edit video, that's what matters. It's not how great everything looks when you're editing or you're shooting it. So I wanted to add that in there.
Another thing to add about the camera setup is kind of just a funny story about the Iowa Deer Classic. Remember that jerk that we walked by?
Oh, yeah.
We were walking by with our camera.
We had a couple comments about our camera.
Yeah, apparently people aren't that friendly. But
no.
Anyway.
The outdoor industry is not what they make it look like.
Yeah. I'll say
there's good people and there's
lot
bad
of good people.
Yeah,
and
obviously.
The good people far outweigh the bad. It's just the select few that we won't mention. And we were walking by this booth, and we had our camera out, and the guy was basically like scoffing at our setup, and kind of like demeaning us to be like below him and his I didn't see what the point of that was. Especially, it's just like it's not an encouraging environment when you're doing that to a couple of young guys walking around trying to promote positivity in the outdoor industry, and then to wrap that up, after we started talking to him and we were really polite and everything, then he offers us cards so we can write our information down in case
so
he ever
film his TV show.
Yeah, in case
that we never heard of. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna pass on.
He's like,
that
yeah,
one.
I'm blank. And we're like, we don't know who you are.
Have you heard of us? Yeah, no.
Oh, well, go ahead and write your name down in case I ever need more film people, which would be pretty cool because I bet he hunts some cool places. But
I wouldn't want to.
Anyway, we'll drop that.
Right. Also, yeah. So to add on to that, we had like, oh wow, that's a little camera setup. I'm like, well, big things run in small packages sometimes, you know.
Do you have something to add?
Just not about how big your camera setup is, it's how well you can film. But that
right, and obviously it's better if it's
small packages.
Okay, well, obviously it's better if your camera's not big, especially if you're doing. What is that?
It's a bug.
So yeah, just to add that, the big, huge cameras aren't very fun to carry around. So if you get a smaller, lighter camera, it's a lot more fun to carry out west or even up a deer stand. So
yeah, I have
FYI.
I have like a 10 or 15 pound camera arm set up to run like a 1 pound camera. It's ridiculous and it's annoying, but oh well.
Which one's the better looking one here? And I'm gonna just hands down say that I'm the better looking one.
Hey guys, my hair days retreat.
And we have a question for you. Who does full body mount turkeys? Because I have a full body mount turkey that I shot with my bow, and I'm very interested in getting it stuffed.
But no one wants to do it.
But nobody will do it here in Iowa. So if anybody has any recommendations or anybody who they know, or if I can ship it to a guy who's pretty good, I'm all ears because, yeah, I have no idea what to do with it because nobody does any more full mount body mount turkeys. So, yeah, my question for you. Thank you.
All right, so the next question, I'll cover a little bit of a tuning topic for any of those guys who are listening and interested in tuning their own bows. And I got this on my last Bareshaft tuning video pretty recently by the Mark Clan. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but
shout out.
Yeah, and he asked, do you also paper tune? Because it was a Bareshaft tuning video. And if you do, what should you do first? And my response to that was, I typically just choose one or the other, and for me it is usually Bareshaft. Mainly just because it is easier. You don't have to set up paper, and you can just keep a couple of Bareshafts around all year. They can be very finicky and very frustrating, but I kind of like that because it really forces you to have good form, and it forces you to get pretty much everything perfect on your setup. And typically the only time I use paper is just if I'm checking for any fletching contact, or if I just can't seem to get the Bareshafts to fly right for whatever reason. And a lot of times if that does happen, typically there's something wrong with the actual shafts, the way they're indexed or whatever, and you know where the nock is oriented. And a lot of times if I can't figure that out, sometimes just paper tuning a bunch of fletched arrows will help me work around that, and then usually I can come back to Bareshaft tuning and have a workout with that. But obviously any tuning method you do, if you do get either one of them perfect, the other one should be as well, unless there's something silly going on with your setup like fletching contact or whatnot. But I will say, whenever I do paper tune, I make sure to shoot through paper at like 2 yards, close distance like 2 or 3 yards, one time at like 6 yards, and shoot through it at like 10 or 12 yards. And that's very important because a lot of times I'll see people paper tuning and then they'll screw on their fixed blade broadheads and they'll realize that, well, obviously my bow isn't tuned, or they think it's the broadhead's fault, and that's why they're not hitting with their fletched arrows. But really it's just because their bow isn't tuned, because they just tuned it for that particular paper result. Usually it's a closer distance, but a lot of times if you shoot through paper at a closer distance and then you shoot through it at multiple other distances, you'll see that your bow isn't tuned exactly perfect the way it should be, and you'll have to make slight adjustments from there. So that's always something that I recommend if anyone is paper tuning. I prefer Bareshaft tuning a little bit just because it's easier for me. I can just keep a couple Bareshafts around and shoot a couple of them during each practice section to make sure my form never gets off and make sure nothing on your bow ever gets bumped. So that's what I prefer. But thought I'd throw that in there because I know a lot of you guys do like to tune your own bows and are interested in that stuff. Where can I buy Brunk Outdoors hats?
If you guys want a Brunk Outdoors hat, go to www.brunkoutdoors.com right here. And order yours. We also make custom paracord bow slings and some new
Have some
stuff.
projects coming up.
Yeah,
And
coming
that's it.
up. Right, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm not going to give it away.
Okay.
Project W.
Oh my gosh. Project X.
No, Project W.
Okay.
Trust me.
Well, that's gonna conclude the video, I think. I also want to inform the YouTube side that may not follow the Instagram side that I did a podcast recently with Whitetail Rendezvous with Bruce Hutchinson.
Yeah.
I think I
Yeah,
don't know if I'm
Bruce
pronouncing
Hutchinson.
that right.
Yep.
But I did a podcast with him several weeks ago now, and it should be posted on his iTunes podcast page and his website very, very soon. So make sure you're following us and following the Whitetail Rendezvous podcast on all forms of social media so you can get the notification of that podcast and listen to it for yourself. We covered a few pretty good topics that I'm pretty excited to share. So anyway, that's going to conclude this video. Sometimes we can't talk here at Brunk Outdoors.
Today, Junior.
But hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure you hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to Brunk Outdoors. Thanks.
Peace.